And we're live.
Welcome back, everyone. Episode 49 of Kids Deserve It. We hope you've been enjoying our weekly chats with educators and game changers from around the country. Also, don't forget, you can check us out on iTunes.
Thank you so much for everybody who has bought a copy of Kids Deserve It already. Adam and I have gotten book numbers all the way up through October, and we have just been blown away by the constant support of the books that you've bought as well as the books you've been sharing out with your friends. Want to remind you that it's up on Amazon, and don't forget that while you wait, you can get the Kindle version for $2.99 once you've ordered the Amazon copy. Great Thanksgiving or Christmas gift, just saying.
Totally. This week, we got another great guest, but first, we want to introduce ourselves. I am Adam Welcome, Director of Innovation and Technology in the Bay Area of California.
I'm Todd Nesloni, elementary school principal in Navasota, Texas. And our guest this week is, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Alice Chen over in Southern California. I am a middle school ELA teacher and a tech coach for my district.
Awesome. We want to remind our viewers to participate in social media as you watch the show or listen to it later on iTunes. We love hearing about all the things that stick out for you when you share using the hashtag #KidsDeserveIt.
So, Alice, we got a few questions for you, of course. So, for people that don't know who you are, tell us about yourself.
Well, I've been teaching for over 20 years. I first started teaching high school English for 7 years, and I transferred to middle school. I really enjoy what I do. I think that teaching actually can be incredibly creative, and I'm always looking for ways to improve my practice and get my students excited about learning. I currently teach 8th grade language arts, and we have access to one-to-one Chromebooks and G Suite for Education, and my students are really enjoying it. And we use these tools mostly for creating content.
You know, that's something Adam and I always talk about, is making sure as educators that we're using tools with our kids that they can create stuff with instead of just consume a program. So I love hearing that, Alice. So Alice, what is something that you've accomplished in the last year or so that you're really proud of?
Well, just recently, I've been nominated by Smart Brief Education for a blog post that I had written. The blog post was written for KQED's In the Classroom blog, and it's called How to Inspire a New Generation of Writers Through Blogging. And my article is all about getting students to write because they want to write, that it is not just for an assignment, giving them a platform to be creative and to share their talents, that an audience of one is not an audience at all. So they shouldn't just be writing for their teachers, but writing for their peers. And I connect my students with other classrooms around the world. You know, I reach out to people on social media, a lot of different educators, and I try to drive readership to our blogs so that my students get an authentic audience. And they have really thrived in this space. And I think that's the power of technology, is to give them an avenue to express themselves that was not possible before, and just instill that love of learning and love of writing, and for them to realize that there is really a writer that resides within themselves.
So Alice, even though you teach writing and you talk about this with your kids, have you always been comfortable yourself blogging?
Yeah, blogging is something I did only in the last few years as I ventured into EdTech. And first, my foray was through Twitter, and then I noticed that there were all these wonderful educators in this space, and I was learning a lot from them. When I first started out in EdTech, I had no formal training whatsoever, so Twitter was a great place to find lots of ideas. And then I started wanting to share ideas, and then though the 140 character limit was not usually a challenge, sometimes you just have to say a lot more. And so then I started blogging to explain my practice in more detail. So that's pretty much how I started.
I love it.
I think that I talk to a lot of people and they're so nervous to hit publish. Like, people are going to read what I wrote when it's out there, but once you get over that hump and people start sharing it and you communicate, I've told people for years, blogging has got me to where I am. It's how Todd and I met. We kind of joked with each other that he didn't blog that much and I blogged too much. And then we kind of came together. That was definitely one of our mediums, and that's how we started it. Down at NAESP, was writing a blog post together. So it definitely moves people forward. So Alice, what is the hardest part about being in education for you, or just in education in general?
Hmm. That's a really good question. I really think it's the workload. I mean, we try our best to do our very best. And so if you're dedicated to that, literally your work will never end because there's always a way to improve your practice. There's always more that you can do for your students. So I find that, maintaining a balance and, not get burnout and just really try to be efficient. Those are, for me, the biggest challenge in education.
Totally.
So Alice, what was school like for you growing up as a student?
Very traditional. Whole class instruction. And I remember being in English class, always afraid to raise my hand. I was just very self-conscious. And I just didn't want to share. I was very shy as well. So that's what I love about technology, is that it really gives every student a voice, through our online discussion threads that I have set up for our classroom, through their blog, through just sharing in small groups, whole class. I mean, the whole range of different ways in which you can collaborate. I wish I had that as a student. I had great teachers, though. I don't want people to think otherwise. And I really appreciate all the hard work that they put into their practice and giving me the education that I have received. But it was very traditional. We're talking rows, we're talking, whole class instruction, except for maybe a couple of teachers. And one teacher that really, who really stands out was my physics teacher. He made the world, explained the world to me through physics, and we got to do things. We got to create bridges, that to see, it was a bridge building contest to see which bridge could withstand the most weight. We created, we raced our mousetrap cars against each other. We came up to the board and shared our thinking. And so that was an anomaly for at that time.
Nice. All right, Alice, when you're having those days, you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to go to school, what do you do? How do you kick how do you kick your butt in gear?
I really don't have that many days like that. I'm excited about what we get to do in the classroom. And in some ways, I say my students are my guinea pigs, because I come across an idea and I'm excited to use it. And I can't wait to see how it plays out. I think also because I teach in such a wonderful community, it's so supported by parents and our kids are awesome, that I don't feel like I don't want to go to work. I mean, don't get me wrong, love summer vacation like anybody else, There's nothing better than being on holiday, as the British would say. But yeah, I mean, as far as a career, this is definitely the right one for me.
I love it. That's a great answer. So Alice, who is someone that inspires you or challenges you to be better?
I think it's my PLN. I mean, there is not just one person, because all of you out there have so many great ideas. And when I come across an idea and I'm like, wow, that's, I want to try that. Or even if it's not my style, I'm like, oh, good for him, good for her. So there is not one person. There are just too many educators out there that are wonderful. And our society needs to know that, there really is a large group out there.
All right, Alice, every week we like our guests to leave a challenge for our viewers. What is your challenge for the week?
Challenge for the week. Let's show a lot of love, kindness, and acceptance. This week, I think we can really use it regardless of whatever way you voted. Please, let's join together and just agree on the one thing, is that everyone matters and our students do matter, and let's make them feel safe.
I think that is a wonderful challenge, and I think that's a great thing that we can do, especially coming right up on Thanksgiving this next week. So it's perfect timing. Well, thank you so much, Alice, for giving us some of your time. I know that as an educator or as any person that's working, your time is very valuable. So we appreciate you coming in and talking with us this evening.
Oh, thank you very much. And earlier we had talked about if I could share that my blog post is up for nomination for an award for Smart Brief Education. If I could share that link with everyone. And if you find that my blog post is worthy of being chosen, please do vote for me. If not, then I completely understand as well. I think
And
everyone
Alice
on
will,
that list is wonderful.
Alice will tweet that out, and we'll share it out with the Kids Deserve It account and mine, Adams, as well, just so y'all can get out there and support awesome educators doing great things. So we would love to do that, Alice. We want to thank everybody who is listening and watching for joining us for the show. We hope you join us for a special episode in a couple days on Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time as we interview author Andrea Beatty, who wrote Rosie Revere Engineer, Iggy Peck Architect, and the brand new one, Ada Twist Scientist, that Adam and I absolutely are obsessed with her and her books.
Mm-hmm.
So we are thrilled to have Andrea come on the show. Thank you again, Alice, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.